things over to greatjhon and his run of Bonk's Adventure. Best of luck.
All right, hello. I am greatjhon, and this is Bonk's Adventure for the TurboGrafx 16. Got my couch behind me. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Infinite Mystery.
Memorytas.
Lattmackey.
All right, so I think it's just about time to get going. So, ready? Let me get back to the title screen here. Here we go. 3,
2,
1,
go! Good luck, John.
Thanks.
Good luck.
You can do it. All right. So, one important thing in Bonk's Adventure is that your main weapon is your head.
He has a noggin. It's pretty big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not going to just jump on enemies like Mario. You're going to hurt yourself if you do that.
We're super fortunate that memorytas is actually the person who has tasked out this game. And so she probably knows the tech better than anybody we know. So.
All right. So, you'll see him bouncing off the flowers. That gives him 7 speed, which is the second high, like pretty much the highest you can get outside of a very specific level.
Mm-hmm.
And you maintain that speed by jumping and flying through the air by mashing the attack button. Though in this case, since it's a TurboGrafx 16 game, he uses the turbo switches that are built into the controller.
One of the cool things about the console is that it actually had turbo switches built into the controller that came with the console. So this is a really interesting run in that sense, is that he's going to be flipping the turbo switches on and off during the run. It's a really technical run, really challenging, and really takes advantage of what the console had to offer.
Yeah, I meant to point that out before the run to kind of show that it's like, yeah, there's physical switches on here. It's not cheating as much as kind of abusing the mechanics that are built into the game.
Like, I saw a TV ad for this game where they even used the air spinning in that. So it's intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And you may remember, if you were an NES player by any chance, Bonk's Adventure was ported to the console. It was from the arcade version. So there's all these different versions of it. But if you ask any of us, this is the definitive version because you have the options of using the turbo switches.
NES is kind of a garbage game.
The arcade version is actually a completely different game altogether.
So this is the Uber Disco Skip, or the Uber Skip as we call it, discovered by runner Uber Disco. And it's not really a clip into the wall as it is there's no barriers up on the ceiling. So you can easily get on top of the wall. And John got on the first try. Good job, man. That is not easy to do. Right through it.
Getting back in bounds, yeah.
Now, unfortunately, Bonk is swimming and Bonk is a little slow.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's not too much more of it.
Swimming in Bonk is just as miserable as it is on any other 8-bit console. So
it's true.
John is actually getting right now the uvula skip. So he's actually skipping and clipping through those little, we call them uvulas. And no, that's not, some sort of inappropriate description for it. It's a real thing.
Going into the first boss here, it's pretty straightforward. Just going to get some bonks in and hopefully do it fast.
So attacking from above, using the head, by attacking from above, you deal double damage, and that's really important for basically every boss fight in this game.
All right.
This first boss is actually a really great highlight of the console and the system. It was able to really draw some really nice big sprites and graphics on screen. And Bonk's Adventure was one of the first, it was early release for the console, but it's a really great highlight and showcase of what the console was capable of.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a great time for a donation.
Exactly, yeah.
Absolutely. We have $100 from Evan Grill.
Evan!
Yeah, Evan.
Nice.
I can't not donate during a TurboGrafx 16 game. I'm sad I can't be on the couch this morning, but I'm watching at home and cheering you on, John. Quick couch question. Best Bonk game?
Oh, best Bonk game, John.
Mm-hmm. I like Revenge.
I'm with you on that one. Got to go with Revenge. Has a different engine, plays nice, has really good gameplay.
I meant to say earlier, we're getting speed by bonking off these little flowers here by doing this, and sometimes it doesn't work.
All right, so
I was going to donate for every whiff I had in this run, $1 for each.
There was definitely some whiffs right there. You owe some money to charity, my friend.
Yep.
Ooh. But basically, every time you whiff, there's basically, it only works every other frame for some reason, so on the other frames, you just whiff.
I got it that time.
So Memory describes this perfectly, and I'm stealing her line, but basically in this game, the floor is lava. You want to stay away from the floor and bonking your head as much as possible. So that's why you see John, he's purposely bouncing off of specific enemies and specific places within the run, mainly the spring boosting and enemies up in the air.
Also, he collected a meat power up back there. Collecting 2 smalls or 1 large will put Bonk into a temporary invincibility state, and in that state, he moves much faster. Not quite flower speed, but still enough to make it worth it, and it's much easier to control than the flower speed.
So depending on which way you look at it, Bonk is either the ultimate vegetarian or the complete opposite of a vegan in that meat really powers him up, but it makes him angry at the same time. And when we say power up, obviously you can see the invincibility he has, but your speed moves much faster when you have a full meat. So the run is routed around getting specific meat power-ups throughout the levels.
Yeah, and I'll be turning these turbo switches on and off because one's controlling the spin and one's controlling the jump. So on this level, I opt to not spin so much because I want to get some more precise movement. But don't worry, I'm back to spinning.
It's one of the most technical levels in the entire run. This is really hard what he's doing. He's actually flipping this turbo switch on and off as he's trying to land in specific spots. That was so he just flipped it on to get the teeth there. That was a really good save, John. Really nice, man. Nice move.
Yeah, that was spins and jumps and turning them on and off. Yeah, it's fun. Oh.
Round 2 is one of the longest stages in the game, and it has very many subsections. And this is we're not even halfway through yet at 2-4. But the idea here is there's a really challenging meat grab that he's going to be coming up to, and it's really hard, and it can be inconsistent. There can be a little bit of RNG that plays a factor in this. So he's trying to move as fast as he can to get the next meat power up so he can keep his speed going.
This is great, though. Didn't whiff on any of those pushes. All right, did not get the lucky one there, but this is the one I really
you got
need.
it good, man. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, nice job. Good job, dude.
All right.
It's really tough to actually make it there in enough time to actually get the meat power-ups. And of course, there it spawns there.
Yeah, if he got it much later, then he would have been at the regular Bonk state, and at that point, it would have only put him to the
Good level, John. Good level, dude. Made it
Yeah,
there.
so those dragonflies, they tend to be you kind of have to hit them in just the right spot. And if you don't, you're going to get hurt and you're going to get bonked back or things are going to happen.
Here, the vines will push him forward a bit and set his speed a bit higher. And they're very important for this level.
Absolutely. And he's also routed around some of the springs at the bottom and also a specific enemy bonk in just a second.
Yeah.
Also, this game has really fantastic enemy design.
Nice.
And the art style. Just that goofy little.
As much as I prefer Revenge, I got to say the music in this game is it really is good.
There's some bangers in here.
There are.
Yeah, I call this level Frog and G because you never really get great luck on those. That was actually okay, though.
The dragonflies can definitely impact your routing and where you're actually moving through the stage. So Frog RNG is a real thing.
Yeah, this one's probably the most technical level with the turbo switches, too. Whenever I'm chewing the wall like that, I'm switching on the turbo jump. So it's off and on in this level just to get big jumps, but then also be able to climb these really fast because you have to mash.
It's just off the frame of the camera, but John's literally, he's clawing up the controller to try to flip the switches on with his index finger as he's keeping his thumb on the button.
That was a fairly flawless level, but I gotta wait for this part to know.
Oh, nice. Yes, and you skipped the meat. Nice. Good.
Oh, don't get that meat.
Good.
We don't need that one.
So here in this level, the clouds you actually automatically bounce off of. So there's a little bit of routing done around dropping on specific clouds. Do you know if the clouds impact the speed at all, Memory?
Yes.
Okay.
So they put you to speed 5. Max walk speed is 4. So you want to get on a cloud as soon as you can.
Right in there. Nice, John. Good.
Yeah, this bird likes to troll me up here. I want him to get out of my way or for me to kill him quick. That'll work.
There you go. That was good.
All right, so this meat is at the end of the stage, so it's really not used for going through the stage fast, but it's used to great effect in the boss right here.
Yep.
So we've got a shout out here to Zallard1 who, wow, either I think it was John or myself were playing this game on stream, and he comes in and notices that whichever boss is on front is the one you actually need to hit. And so if you'll notice in the very first cycle of this boss, which John actually just destroyed, so we were able to see, you can actually know which one you're supposed to hit. And in the casual run, this one can be a little bit challenging to know who you're supposed to actually defeat during this part.
Yeah.
But that boss has like really long animations, which is why you need the meat.
Yeah.
Aw, Bonk has won the heart and mind. Sorry, if you got another donation, we got time for another one.
Sure thing. We have $5 from Uber Disco.
Uber.
Yo, greatjhon, you know I had to catch your run. You and Lat got me into speedrunning, so I had to be here for this.
Aw.
Good luck on the run, and hopefully you get a new world record too.
Hey, there you go.
Much love from the RGL and Turbo community.
Awesome.
Well, thanks everyone in the States for either staying up late or getting up early to watch this. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. Thanks, Back Couch.
All right, so these enemies are really tough. I'm doing a lot of spinning here, but I'm going to try not to get hit by these guys because they take away a full heart of damage. The enemy has a name. I like to call them demon babies, though, because that's what they kind of look like. All right, also don't want to get any of these meats. It's just not the time for it.
There are some what we call juggling strats that happen, and you notice he actually is hitting some very specific enemies. Ooh, geez.
Oh.
That's okay. That was a good hit.
Yeah.
So typically that guy spawns a meat. There's the pink and purple bird, but depending on your health, can impact the meat spawns.
Yeah, this level can be very fast, but it looks like I had taken a lot of damage from those guys.
This doesn't just make you want to do the bonk. Doo-doo. So one of the kind of like defining characteristics of a bonk game is these smiley faces that happen throughout the entire game. If you're playing this casually, it's a really fun way to extend the
All right, I got the
replay
skip.
Hey, you got the skip. Okay,
All
good.
right,
We did.
so that skip, that might not look like a skip, but it actually places you past 2 water levels. And as we saw before, water levels aren't that great. So you want to skip all of them.
Absolutely.
And not to call John out, but he may or may not have missed that skip in the practice room.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, there was a little bit of a sweat going on right there.
It's pretty embarrassing.
It's okay, you're only the world record holder, you know, no big deal.
This is the stage where you can get the absolute most speed. On the ice slopes, you can get like up to like 9, depending on the length of the slope.
Yeah, I've gotten one basically by accident where I'm like flying over the top of one of those platforms and I was like, oh, okay, guess this is happening now.
So depending on his health, sometimes that bird there can spawn a full heart like you saw before as opposed to the full meat. So we have a strat coming up called the John cycle. And it's a really tough trick. In fact, it's a really challenging trick to pull off that is it's not in the current task because we discovered it after the task was published. And John's going to try to one cycle this boss right here.
So the setup's looking good so far.
It's a really tough one to pull off. It has some really precise inputs. So we'll see if it happens. There we go. Thanks, Back Couch. Oh, yeah, there we go. Good job,
All
man.
right.
Woo.
Yeah.
So meats basically also increase your attack power, which is very important for this boss and the World 2 boss. It'll also be important much later in the game, but we'll get to that.
If you weren't powered up there, that boss could take up to 4 cycles depending on how much meat you actually have. So,
Yeah.
want to squeeze another donation while we have a minute?
Absolutely. We have $250 from Mackenzie.
Oh, hi, Mackenzie.
Longtime viewer, but I'm very excited to say that today is the first time I get to watch a friend sit in the runner's seat at GDQ.
Oh,
Good luck, John. Thanks to all who organized this event for such a great cause.
dude.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for supporting such a great cause. And he got the meat, nice. So this is this stage actually doesn't have any different rooms. It's one room for the entire stage, and it just goes on and on.
And glitchy dino down there. Can't figure out which way to go to chase me.
So this is one of the bird spawns here. I believe they're RNG memory. The way that these birds spawn. Do you know?
I have no idea.
You can get a little bit of consistent setup at the start, but I think the rest you're just gonna have to wing it.
Right.
Because I'm trying to like hold back so I can keep hitting them, even if it takes a little damage to do.
So one thing about the spawns in this game is that like it's
yeah.
very easy to like overwhelm the game with spawns. It's much like more evident in a later level, but if you have too many like on screen, like certain enemies won't appear and others will. You can risk like missing the meat at the very start of the stage with that. But thankfully, death isn't that big of a deal in this game as long as you don't get a game over.
Right.
The only drawback to the death is that the animation seems like it takes 10 hours. If you do any sort of speed running, you know you have to literally wait for the animation to finish before you can bring Bonk back to life.
Yeah, so I'm trying to kind of farm for some health here. Meat power-ups are good too, because they'll give me extra hits. So that's okay. I got plenty of health going into this fight. I do not need that heart. I do not want to go back and get it.
Are you sure?
I really don't.
So Punchy is a fun boss fight in that he has this super punch thing that if you're playing this game casually can really wreck you. But, you know, of course, as a speedrunner, just avoid the whole thing altogether. So.
Yeah, you barely know he's a boxer.
So this is one of the longest cutscenes in the entire game, and you know, we don't want to miss our opportunity here. So what do you say we all selfie it up here? Okay, let's do this thing. Here we go. Okay, thank you guys. Never miss an opportunity for a stage selfie. Got a chance for a little more donation if you got it.
Yeah.
Sure thing. We have $10 from Tina Hacks.
Tina!
Oh, Tina.
Bonk for the TurboGrafx 16. With lattmackey and memorytas explaining the game. Yes, please.
Hi, Tina. Wish you were here. Thank you so much for the donation.
Round 5 is long. It's basically half the game, so it's also very difficult.
Basically, almost every Bonk game has like a last level that's like half the game.
Literally feels like half the game.
Yeah. There's a lot of damage boosting in this that's mostly intentional.
It's all intentional. As John mentioned, there's going to be some very specific intentional damage he's taking. This is one of the places that little flower can cause you a lot of pain and wreckage if you're speedrunning.
Watch out, Bonk!
Ah, he made it. Okay. So one of the things that Round 5 does have is a lot of technical tricks and movement happening so that he can move through the stage as fast as possible. We also have another skip coming up in just a moment we'll show you, but so he is trying to actually hit some very specific enemies as he's working his way towards the end of the stage. The difference between hitting those birds in the right spot and the wrong spot is literally just pixels. So, see, oh, there you go.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Can we get a hammer? Can we get a hammer?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So ideally you can get all the way through this area, but that's also really good to get most of the way.
Yep. That was really nice. You'll know how well you've done if you, depending on your powered up state by the end of this.
All right.
Okay, so we're coming up on a skip that we don't have a name for. If you want, here's your chance. Make a donation. Come up with a name for this skip. Literally, John, just hold down the spin button. He's going to skip through the ceiling here.
We just don't like water levels. I don't want to do this water level.
Nobody wants to see a water level.
No more water levels.
But if you've got a good name for that skip, please join us. There's a naming opportunity for you out there.
We don't get too creative with our names. We mostly just name it after who found it.
In the speedrun or the casual run, this room, the statue room, is one of the most fun to play. These things have a very generous hitbox, and you build up your momentum to a certain speed once you've hit a certain amount of enemies.
That's good. They also take off like full heart again because there's some brutal enemies in this game.
They want to wreck you.
Yeah. All right.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I'll take that.
So, John, what made you want to even decide to speedrun this game as you're going through all this stuff?
Well, I had obviously played Bonk's Revenge before, and this was actually gifted to me by a coworker of mine. He's like, "Oh, I know you're into that retro stuff." So
They gifted you a TurboGrafx.
they gifted me a TurboGrafx 16 and this game. So
John is also the current world record holder in Bonk's Revenge as well.
just kind of waiting for these bubbles to come, so I get a little bit extra bump here.
While he's working, this is one of the most challenging stages in the run, just because first of all, these guys don't die. These little, I don't know what you call them, but that was really good. Oh,
yeah,
man.
and then sometimes you get that bonus meat that you don't need.
Before John and I started running the game, we got a big shout out to DK2020, who his world record stood for years. And he played the game a while ago, and it was nice to have at least something to reference as we were working our way through the game.
And his world record was very tight. It was a good run.
It's a good run, yeah. It's deathless. It's under 30 minutes, which is a good run in this game. If you can get a run under 30 minutes, that's a good run.
His run was also like where I first found out about the skip it of the water level
Nice.
back in 5.2 or whatever it was.
Give me a naming opportunity, maybe. Maybe we call it
the
DK
mystery
Yeah.
skip that isn't named.
All right. So that level can go really badly, but I think that
was really good, John,
That one.
actually, yeah. Spring boosting in a small area like that is really challenging in this game. This is going to look a little bit simple on its surface, but this is a really, in fact, I myself, John, all of us have lost runs to this level here. And it's a lot of just tight, very traditional platforming. But if you miss any of these jumps, you're in a world of hurt.
yeah.
Especially if you fall all the way down.
You can't see it, but John is still flipping off the switches on and off on the turbo so he can actually do the jumps properly. And when you're doing this on the original hardware, it's quite technical.
Yeah,
So-
every one of these platforms is like opening up such that basically that it's going to drop me as soon as I stand on it too long. So
Oh, nice. Woo!
that could be a really bad spot to die.
It's a very tight jump there John just made. That was not easy, man. Smart. I may or may have lost a practice run there.
So we've been calling this donation hallway because it is very long. So
And
great
there's
time
nothing
for
in it.
donations.
Yes.
You think it might be like a boss rush or something. So go ahead.
If you've got any donations, now's the time.
We have some suggestions for the name of that skip.
Good.
We have $50 from Mick Jazz Hands, who says, maybe you could call that skip mostly dry bonk.
That's a good one.
I like that one.
And we have $10 from Kona Rickon, who asks, why not name that skip Spin Cycle?
Oh,
Ooh.
got some good contenders.
Yeah, I like that. If anybody's got some good puns to throw that at, that works as well. Have no idea why this is in the game.
I guess it's to build up like tension, like here's all the people that you defeated.
Yeah.
I
Got
wonder
it.
what's gonna happen later.
Because Bonk is so suspenseful, that's what I guess. Okay.
All right. Glad I got that health. I was looking pretty dire there.
Hey, you made it, man. That was nice.
Like, every time you mash the button, like you rise a little bit, but then after enough, you just hop a little. And this is not in any later Bonk game. Like in every later Bonk game, you just slowly rise that waterfalls. I don't know why they removed it.
Quick warning, if you're sensitive to flashing lights, we got a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
things. There's one right away here. There's going to be some flashing lights. So if you're sensitive,
Right.
you may want to close your eyes for just a moment. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I'm sensitive up here.
Yeah.
It's very bright.
Another defining characteristic of Bonk games seems to be a boss rush. So we are headed into a good old-fashioned boss rush, if you will.
And grabbing this meat is very important before the boss rush.
The
You-
task grabs it, doesn't it?
Yeah, the tool run grabs it, and the RTA grabs it too for the same reason. So you're gonna want to deal a lot of damage quick to the first boss, and hopefully take a little bit to the second boss.
So John's actually buffering an input there as well. You have to keep your finger pressed on the jump button while that pauses there.
Yeah.
First boss looked good.
Yeah,
It did.
made it through there quickly. So he's trying to go for a first hit, still powered up on this boss here. And that'll skip a cycle. Or save a cycle, I should say. Oh, nice.
Looks like I just barely got it.
Yeah, man, that might have been like the last frame. Good, nice. So you'll know if you've got it if this happens, if he spawns on the second hit.
Oh, great placement.
Oh, yeah, good.
Stay over here.
Stay over here, come back.
No.
No.
Okay.
There we go. There we go,
There it
nice,
is.
good.
You wanted to kind of stay on the left side because it just takes way too long to get over to the right. Ah, happy Bonk.
Hey, look at that smile on it.
So this is the boss we saw earlier, but it's going to be a much slower fight this time.
This can be one of the most challenging bosses in the entire game, and John is making it look so easy, but his hitboxes are ridiculous in his hands, so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even when I was tasking this boss, like the arms just make no sense.
John, that was an awesome fight. You did get hit once.
Very good.
That was super, really great. That is not easy to do, folks. He's literally getting in there by pixels. I mean, it's no room at all.
Last of the main bosses here.
Sometimes in a casual playthrough, you may miss some of the power-ups that are in between these rooms, but let me tell you, they're super helpful
Yeah.
in the speedrun and in the casual playthrough. Okay. John, you and T-Ractor had
Yeah. We had some moments earlier.
Ooh. What kind of moment?
what have you been, T-Ractor had been doing?
He was doing things that never happened.
Oh, God.
So the interesting thing about T-Ractor Head is that his hitbox is that little, radar thing you see at the tip of his
Antenna?
nose. Antenna,
Yeah.
thank you, yes. It is a really tight hitbox. There's not very much space at all.
And the boss moves around a lot.
He does.
Especially in comparison to the other bosses, which mostly
Dude,
they do.
that was
There we
killer.
go.
That was a great
I
fight,
didn't even
man.
get a
Holy
finish
cow.
explaining.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to catch up. That was a great fight.
I'm sorry I didn't do badly.
Dang it.
But that boss can move around a lot. Like, most bosses are, like, fairly, like, stay still a bunch. That boss moves around a lot and can move around all over the screen. And
To practice, John and I did a fair amount of races in the practice room, and I kept wishing some bad RNG on him, and couldn't get lucky with that.
And there's, like, most of the plot of the game. For instance, the dinosaur was brainwashed, and now you're going to retake Moonland.
Yeah.
We are in Moonland. There's going to be some flashing lights here, folks. So if you're sensitive to flashing lights, you may want to look away for just a moment. There's going to be one more when he actually makes it to Moonland.
Yeah. We're going to the moon.
So according to lore, the premise of this entire game is that you're supposed to be saving Princess Za and returning her to her beloved Moonland that has been taken over by the evil King Drool. So you're on your way here to fight King Drool to save Princess Za.
Is it just me, or does that moon look like it's split in half? Could there be a Bonk's revenge?
No, are they setting up a sequel? Okay, flashing lights right here, folks. So look away for just a sec. And you're back. 2 cycles here on King Drool. He's going to have this like outlined yellow thing.
I don't know. Silhouette?
Once again, if you've got names, send them in. We'll take them.
I like Constellation Drool.
Constellation, there you go.
Constellation Control is pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, good. Okay. Now we're on the final version of King Drool here.
And now he's solidified, so. And he spits out these these tridents at you, and can be really hard to dodge them, especially if you're attacking him off screen.
This boss fight is incredibly challenging to pull off.
And time is coming up when the screen flashes again. And that's
Time.
it. Very good.
Hey, good job, John. Great ride.
Only one death, that's really good.
Yeah. All right, that is Bonk's adventure. So shout outs to my couch here, obviously, waking up early or staying up late for a few of you.
Ooh, no sleep crowd.
Also shout outs to my to my wife and baby for making the trip with me, especially my wife being so supportive. I mean, but the baby too. Yeah. So, and the Bonk community is great.
Speaking of the Bonk community, this has really been a great collaboration between the tasslers and the RTA runners. We are so fortunate to have Memory who did this task, but along the way, she was asking us questions, what works, what doesn't work, and it's really a testament to what you can accomplish when those things are working together. It's really pretty awesome.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you, GDQ, for having me and featuring TurboGrafx 16.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Oh, TurboGrafx 16 Mini, that's the thing.
Oh, yes. If you want to join us, please, TurboGrafx 16 Mini is coming out.
Yeah, this game will be on there, Bonk's Revenge, lots of other good ones as well.
We welcome new runners. Please join us.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's hear it one more time for greatjhon and that incredible run of Bonk's adventure. We're going to take a quick ad break, so don't go anywhere. We have $10 from Wolf Shadow. Hi all, woke up early to catch the Bonk run. I grew up with a TurboGrafx 16 and this was by far my favorite game on the console. We have $100 from 50 cosine 8. Amazing event as always. Let's get these incentives. And we've got a bunch of them. We have a few for Katana Zero, such as upgrading to hard mode. That's currently sitting at around $2,500 out of $10,000. And we have an incentive to pet the cat, and you always have to pet the cat. And that's currently sitting at around $5,500 out of $30,000. And we also have an incentive to unlock the secret boss and fight psychotherapy. That's at around $6,000 of $10,000. We definitely want to get those incentives met, and we only have a few more hours in which to do so, so please continue to bring those donations in. We really want to see all those incentives get met. That's going to do it for me. I'm going to turn things over to Crunchy Lex, so take it away.
Good morning, AGDQ. That's what I like to hear. My name is Crunchy Lex. I'm going to be your pal behind the mic for the next couple of games. Now, I don't want to alarm you all, but I checked with my good friend Google, and it turns out that in 30 minutes is officially dawn here in Orlando, Florida, which means we're less than half an hour away from the dawn of the final day. I know. I'm not terribly happy about it either, but I am happy about the schedule. Have y'all seen some of the stuff we got coming today? That's right. In fact, we're going to be picking it up immediately with some Tony Hawk's Project 8. We're just getting that finished set up over there, so just give us a few on that. But in the meantime, I'm going to fill it in with a little bit of donation action here. We have $60 from Moody 303033. All I can say is, shut up and take my money, lol. Much thanks to the whole GDQ staff who keep this event running so smoothly. You guys rock. We have $100 from Cobalt Knight. All the runs so far have been amazing. It's hard to believe the week's almost over. Let's get that Link's Awakening run and keep this going as long as we can. That is, of course, referring to the bonus game Link's Awakening, the Switch version run by the one and only TGH. That's sitting at 74,399 of 400,000. So that one's got quite a way to go, but that's one you definitely do not want to miss. I've been following that one somewhat as a runner of the original Link's Awakening, and there is some pretty sick tech that's been cropping up all the way since the game came out. It's been evolving, and that's definitely one y'all want to see. So let's get that one met. All right, we have $100 from Brendan and Cherry Robinson. Thank you for such a solid way to raise money for a noble cause. My wife's grandmother passed away from cancer, and hopefully with this research, we will lose less people to this terrible illness. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your generosity.